Hello children, welcome to yet another session of Geography Class 8 Migration. So before we commence, let us have a quick round of recap of what we have studied in our earlier session. So in our last session we had started with the chapter on migration, and about what is migration we had learned that it was the movement of human beings between one geographic region to the other in an aim to settle definitely or temporarily. Then we had found that humans had always moved around. Right from the ancient times, travelers, traders, priests and pilgrims, they had moved vast distances for knowledge, opportunity and spiritual fulfillment. Then in the 18th century also, a large-scale involuntary slave trade occurred, through which migration occurred. Then came the 19th century, where millions of people, they were living their their countryside and moving out to the cities, and this caused unprecedented levels of urbanization. Now all this was because of the industrialization, globalization, technology that occurred across the world. Migration was may be classified into two types: international migration and internal migration. About international migration, we had studied that it was the movement of population from one country to another across the international borders, and that was called international migration. Then about the international migration, the people who are coming from other countries and coming and residing to our country, we call them immigrant. And the people of our country who are leaving our country and going and settling abroad, we call them emigrant. So this we had learnt last time. Then in the 19th century, maximum migration had taken place, and that was because many of the Indians migrated to Mauritius, Burma, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Fiji, Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad, South Africa, East Africa. So all these places Indians had moved into, and they had settled there as laborers. They had gone there as laborers and settled there permanently. Then a mass-scale migration had taken place during the time of partition of India in 1947, where people from Pakistan were large-scale population were coming towards India, and then from India they were crossing the border to go towards Pakistan and Bangladesh, vice versa. Okay, next we had studied about that during this 19th century only, and during 1970s especially, that highly educated and skilled professionals have migrated from India to some of the most advanced countries of the world, like USA, UK, Canada, and some countries of Western Europe. Now, what was the reason for these people to leave the country? Now, the main reason was that they wanted better standards of living, quality of life, higher salaries, access to advanced technology, stable political conditions. So for all these reasons, these educated, skilled professionals, they were leaving India and growing and settling abroad. So this phenomena was called the brain drain. Now in this whole phenomena, the recipient country, for example India, who had trained these young intellectuals, who had given training to them, so they were at a loss. And the who was benefited by this? The developed countries, who were accepting these intellectuals and for whom they were working. So they were at a benefit, and our home nation, home country, was at a loss. Now today we will move further with the chapter, and we will start with internal migration. Now what is meant by internal migration? Internal migration refers to the people within a country moving to another location within its borders. So within the borders of the country, when people are moving from one region to the other, that is called internal migration, and it can be classified into 4 types: rural to rural, rural to urban, urban to urban, and urban to rural. So let us discuss these one by one. And to come, let us focus on the first type, that is urban to rural migration. Yeah, this side, it's rural to rural migration. So under this, people move from one village to another. Marriage or seasonality of work, lack of work are some of the reasons, some of the factors responsible for rural to rural migration. So people are also migrating from one region, one rural area to the other, and their main motive or the main reason for their migration may be marriage or the seasonality of work, lack of work. These are some of the factors which are responsible for such rural to rural migration. In slack agricultural season, a large number of villagers move out to seek casual employment in irrigational projects, construction of roads, railroads, and building and other miscellaneous menial jobs. So what do we mean as slack agricultural season? Slack agricultural season is the season where, supposing after sowing the seeds, the farmer does not have work. It will wait for the plant to grow. During that time, the farmer is free. So during that time, the farmer can seek employment in other villages if there is any project going on. For example, if there is any irrigational project going on in the other village, he can migrate there and take employment there. If there is construction of roads going on, railroads, buildings, and other miscellaneous jobs are there, then he can easily migrate to other rural areas and take employment there. So under this rural to rural migration was also could be seen at the time of Green Revolution. Now the introduction of Green Revolution in Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh in 1960s generated considerable migration of labour force from depressed areas of the eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar to these areas. Now what is this Green Revolution? Green Revolution started in the year 1960s. In the 60s it started to make India self-sufficient in food crops. So as such, under the able guidance of the then Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, high-yielding variety of seeds were brought from the developed countries. Apart from good fertilizers, pesticides were also provided, irrigation facilities were given, loans were given, modern equipments were given to the farmers, training was imparted to the farmers. So the overall motive of this Green Revolution was to make India self-sufficient in food crops so that they do not have to import food crops from other countries. And this happened. This Green Revolution gave very good results in Punjab, Haryana, and then India became self-sufficient in food crops also, and it was not only self-sufficient, it had surplus to export to the other countries. Okay, so during this was what was the Green Revolution, and during this time a mass scale migration of labourers could be seen from the eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar to Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh. They all migrated in search of better economic opportunities. Similarly, thousands of villagers have moved to plantations in Bengal and Assam as labourers. So thousands of villagers have also moved to the plantations in Bengal and Assam. And which plantation crop is there? Tea plantation crops are there in the hilly regions of West Bengal and Assam. So many of the people had also migrated to these places in search of work. Sometimes decisions taken by the government also affect migration pattern. The resettlement of the Sikh immigrants from Pakistan in the Tarai region of Uttar Pradesh is an outstanding example of such migration. Now these days also we are experiencing migration of laborers, and the government policy to again bring back to their respective homes is another example, very good example of migration from one place to the other. Okay, next is rural to urban migration, and let us focus on rural to urban migration. Under this, people migrate from rural areas to the towns or the metro cities. So this is the most, I would say, common one, where people from the rural areas are moving towards the urban cities. And this is the reason why the urban cities are growing. Rural and urban migration is caused by both push and pull factors. In rural areas, poverty, unemployment, low and uncertain wages, uneconomic land holdings and poor facilities of education, recreation and other services work as push factors. So these are the common problems that are making the people, they are forcing the people to leave the rural areas. By contrast, the pull of the urban areas may include better employment opportunities. Children, please focus here. Better employment for opportunities, regular and higher wages, fixed working hours, better amenities of living, facilities for education and socio-cultural activities. Now these are the things which are attracting the laborers or the people to come towards these cities, these urban areas. So they are acting as pull factors. The glamour of urban life and the rigid caste system in the countryside has given further strength to the push and the pull factors. Both poor and rich from the countryside migrate to the urban areas under the influence of push and pull factors. While the poor migrate out of the economic compulsion to make out their living, the rich migrate due to their desire for a better and the greater comforts of life. So the poor, while the poor is thinking about to get some job, the rich in the rural areas, they are thinking about better, even greater comforts of living in the urban areas. So they are shifting towards the urban areas. In brief, rural to urban migration is an outcome of interplay of forces hostile to the comfortable living in the villages and the availability of lucrative opportunities in urban areas. So here lucrative opportunities, gainful opportunities that we get in the urban areas. So that is the reason why they are leaving the rural areas and migrating towards the urban areas. Now urban to urban migration, and why this urban to urban migration occurs. Under this, the people migrate from the small towns to the with less facilities to the larger cities or metro cities with more facilities. So it has been seen that people are migrating from the smaller towns to the bigger metro cities or the bigger cities. This is the reason that the metro cities have grown to such a much faster rate as compared to the small towns. The small towns are not growing, but the bigger cities are growing to much larger extent. Why? Because people from the small towns are coming to the bigger cities. In fact, small towns are constantly losing to big cities, and this vacuum in the thus caused in the small towns is filled by subsequent migration. Yes, here you can see subsequent in-migration from the surrounding rural areas. Okay, now the small town, there is a vacuum created because the people from the small town are migrating towards the metropolitan cities or the bigger cities, and their vacuum is filled by the in-migration from the surrounding rural areas. People are migrating to these small towns. Next, we come to urban to rural areas. Now, this is not very common, but does occur. Such a movement takes place at an advanced stage of urbanization. Too much of urbanization, people are just fed up. When urban centers are characterized by over-congestion, haphazard growth, high cost of living, heavy pressure on the public utility service, unemployment, then they are leaving the rural areas, the urban areas, and they are shifting to the rural areas, rural places where there is peace, there is not much congestion, there is not high cost of living. So in such cases, they shift towards the rural areas. Now, the causes of migration, and for the causes of migration, the main cause is the economic factor. Economic factor is the major cause why people are migrating from any place, from whether it be rural to rural, urban to rural, or rural to urban, whatever it is, the major is the economic factor. So most of the studies indicate that migration is primarily motivated by economic factors. In developing countries, low agricultural income, agricultural unemployment and underemployment, lack of alternative sources of income are considered basic factors pushing the migrants towards developed areas with greater job opportunities. So these are the economic problems which the developing countries are facing, and for these reasons people are leaving and migrating towards the developed areas. Opportunities for better employment, higher wages, facilities, better for working conditions, attractive amenities are the pull factors of an area. So by now I suppose you understand the push and the pull factors. So these are the opportunities which they get and they work as the pull factors in the developed areas. Introduction of capital intensive methods of production into agricultural sector and mechanization of certain processes reduce labor requirement in the rural areas. Now in the rural areas also much laborers are not required in the agricultural lands because of the mechanization, reduce labor requirement, and what happens? They become unemployed. They need, for economic reasons, they need to migrate to places which has better economic opportunities. The non-availability of alternative sources of income in the rural areas is also an important factor for migration. The pull factors are factors which attract the migrants to an area. So the pull factors are there. We have studied about the pull factors which are also there, which attract the migrants to an area. The second factor is the marriage. Marriage is very important social factor of migration. Now the rural areas, most girls have to migrate to their in-laws' place of residence after marriage. Not only the rural areas, the urban areas also. So if it is some other city or town, then the girls have to move to their respective places where their in-laws' places. Next is education. Now this is a very important factor for migration. Rural areas by and large lack educational facilities, especially for those of higher education. And rural people have to migrate to the urban areas for this purpose. Many of them settle down in the cities for earning a livelihood after completing their education. So this becomes almost permanent education. For education purpose, when they are moving out from the rural areas and after finishing their studies, they may settle in the same region and continue their livelihood. The same occurs from urban to urban also. Not only in the rural areas, people nowadays are moving for better educational facilities in other metropolitan cities, from the smaller towns to bigger urban areas, urban centers where the educational facilities are very good. Then lack of security. Now political, yes, the lack of security, political disturbances and inter-ethnic conflicts drive people away from their homes. Large number of people have migrated out from Jammu and Kashmir and Assam during the last few years due to disturbed conditions there. People also migrate on a short-term basis in search of better opportunities for recreational health care facilities, legal advices, and for availing services which the nearby towns provide. So, in case the lack of security is there prevailing in certain area, people may leave their homes and migrate to other places. This is the reason, because of lack of security. And as said, that they can be short-term basis also, in search of better health care facility, better opportunity for recreation and things like that. So today we end here. We will continue with the impact of migration in our next session. And before we leave, a little assignment. Please do the rest of the questions till question number 10, the short answers in your interleaved copy. In case you do not have an interleaved copy, you may do it in any other copy and then stick the pages. Now, till last time I had asked you to do till question number 5. Now I expect you to do all the questions till question number 10. I feel these questions are very easy and can be easily be done. Okay, then thank you and have a nice day.